And welcome back. Because we had a snowstorm yesterday, my normal evening Tuesday plans, which is normal, I go play cards with some friends, um, was canceled. So I actually had time when I went out to go and see a matinee. So I wanted to catch Eternity because I really thought the trailer and the concept was interesting. The idea of when you die, the afterlife is not what you think. It's basically kind of bureaucracy. You get sorted into different eternity. You have an eternity, an afterlife you can choose, but once you choose it, you're stuck there. That's it. And if you leave, you might be sent to a dark void place. There's no actual hell apparently, but the void is about as close as you get. And obviously we have Larry, played by Miles Teller, who dies, chokes on a pretzel, and his wife, who had cancer, goes shortly after him. They meet up in the afterlife, and unfortunately, she also sees her first husband, who died in the Korean War, who's been waiting for her for 67 years. And the question is, what does she do? And look, I'm not gonna lie, like, it's not a super elaborate movie. I won't even go so far as to say it's in depth, but it is a bit of a thinking movie. I like a movie that kind of makes you contemplate, what would you do in this scenario? How would you spend the rest of your existence, knowing that it's eternity? And at on that premise, do I think they go all the way with it? No, but do I think they touch on a lot of ideas and a lot of scenarios and the you know the moral conundrum and the emotional conundrum? Absolutely, I think they do. I like the movie. I really did. I think this is what Big Bold Beautiful Journey. I think this is what it was kind of trying to be a bit more, because that movie also dealt with love, reconnection, remembering kind of who you are as a person to some degree. Now, Big Bold Beautiful Journey suffered from several factors. One, just didn't need to be R-rated. There's nothing extremely R-rated about that movie. Not that it was a bad thing, but the random bits of R-ratedness didn't help it. That movie also suffered from the fact it was badly paced, and because it felt way too long. This one, I wouldn't say it's not even 2 hours. I wouldn't, but I will say it did start to feel like it was kind of dragging its feet in the last 20 minutes, simply because there's kind of multiple endings a little bit. And it all comes down from the crux of our three main players. You have Miles Teller, Elizabeth Olsen, who play the Cutners, who are or Cutters, who play the married couple. Then you have Caleb Turner, who plays Luke, the former husband. Then you have these two ACs, afterlife consultants, played by Davine Joy Randolph and Joy Early. So you don't have a huge cast. You have little characters here or there pop up, but nothing major. But the movie is sold. It lives and dies on this cast, basically, because they're the ones you're focusing on the majority of the time. And you have to like these people, and then at points don't not like these people. At least when it comes to the two husbands. Yeah, you have to basically do that, because there's points where they do things that you do not agree with, but you understand why they do it. They're not evil people. They're just two husbands who happen to be married to the same woman, and she's stuck in an impossible choice. And on that front, this movie really works. I've always loved Miles Teller as an actor, as a performer. I love Elizabeth Olsen, beautiful, super talented. And the beauty of it is you actually get to meet these characters briefly in the beginning, as they are when they're older, as they're at their older selves. Like, I don't know how old they're actually supposed to be. They've been married 67 years. No, they've been married 65 years. It was like 67, 65 years. She was married before that, which means, and he served in the Korean War. I'm guessing it's modern day. I'm guessing they got to be in their late 80s, early 90s minimum. Um, but yeah, I say that because they the performances, they actually really capture the essence. because we get to meet these people and kind of get an idea of their personality as older people, you do see it. You do see the old person, the person they were when they died, in Miles Teller and in Elizabeth Olsen. You do actually see that come out through the performances. You just get to see the younger energy of an older person come through. If that's weird to say, how can I put it? You see the mannerisms of an older person with the energy of their younger selves. Basically, that's what it comes down to. That's what it is. And again, I really liked Miles Teller, and I really liked Elizabeth Olsen. I think might be the standout, but close to it is Miles Teller. Because Miles Teller, he's playing that kind of guy who just is trying to do what's right, and he's kind of screwing it up in a lot of turns. And ultimately, his arc, because they all three of them have an arc. They do. And I'm not going to give anything away, obviously, but he makes a couple choices that aren't the healthiest, but in the end, he makes the choices that matter. And honestly, he makes the choice. Like, I'm not going to say what I would truly do in this scenario, but if I'm going to be honest, he probably makes the choices I would have made in this scenario. I'm like, look, I don't know if it's like the personal, like what I do in the scenario thing kicking in, but the minute I see him near the end of the film, I go, my man. Like, that's kind of what I would have done. That's kind of what I would have done. Not gonna lie. At least I wanted to be sure everyone I know gets to where they're going safely and happily. And then maybe I make a decision afterwards. But it's also, I mean, it's not a straight out laugh riot comedy. It's got a lot of funny moments, certainly. And there's a couple moments where the audience was having it wasn't like laugh out loud, like, but it was like we were all kind of chuckling at the end scenario. One scene involves them at a beach, and this little kid just throws the ball. It's like, hey, you little kids, I'm sorry. You could have died. Actually, I died when I was 9. Ooh, hit and run. Oh, at least it was quick. It wasn't. It was extremely, extremely slow. Yeah. But, I also find this kind of take on the afterlife interesting, the kind of the bureaucracy of it a little bit. Because there's still a lot of, because they don't answer, is there a God? I don't know. I know there's my higher up named Tom, and his higher up named something or this, and then the big guy, Kevin. But we don't know if there's an actual God or not. They basically just, people are just ushering them in. But the question, if you really deconstruct this concept of the afterlife, there is a lot that doesn't quite add up. For example, who was at the beginning of time? Basically, the beginning of humanity. What was that about? What was that about? Like, who was there to usher those people in, or have those people never basically gone to heaven or hell? Gone to an afterlife. They basically just the afterlife consultants. But we know for a fact that you can just take on the position of an afterlife consultant even after you die. So if you don't want to go, you could just pick a job until you're ready to go. So, yeah, it's one of those things where there's a lot of questions asked and raised when you stop and think about it that don't get answered, that don't need to be answered. They don't. Not that I think they'd ever do a sequel to a film like this, but if they did, I could definitely see them maybe answering the question of, okay, who was the first person here? What happened? But yeah, ultimately, I enjoyed this film. Like I said, I think even though it's not a 1-to-1, it is a better version in some ways of Big Bold Beautiful Journey, to the point where there's also scenes of viewing memories from the past, which I actually like the way they handle that. I actually think it's really fun. But yeah, I think it's just like a better handling of at least a similar concept, to say the least. Not exact 1-to-1, but ultimately, yeah, I really actually enjoyed this film quite a bit. Is it going to make my top 10 list? Probably not. We're getting damn close to the end of the year. I've only got 28 days left in the year. So I've got to really start factoring in my top 10 lists pretty soon. But I've still got a bunch of movies to see. I got SpongeBob, Avatar, Five Nights at Freddy's, Wake Up Dead Man. I'm going to do Wake Up Dead Man this week. Definitely. I mean, even if I don't see Five Nights at Freddy's, I'm definitely this week. I'm definitely seeing Wake Up Dead Man, Avatar. I got Anaconda. I'm gonna want to try to see Marty Supreme, but I also actually want to see that Song Sung Blue, the true story about lightning and thunder. The Neil Diamond impersonator played by Hugh Jackman. Like we had a trailer attached. I'm like, this just seems like a feel good movie, man. I want to catch this. And what? Kissing me, loving you, sweet Caroline. Ba ba ba. Good times never felt so good, so good, so good. Like I do laugh when he says, I'm not I'm not super handsome, or what? How do you put it? I'm not a heartbreaker or a megastar or super handsome or model. I'm like, you're Hugh fucking Jackman. You are kind of all of those things in many ways. Even at 57, man, you are a heartbreaker. Let's not mince words here. Most women would be like, Hugh Jackman, Even he's a good looking 57. Come on. But anyway, I digress. Eternity. It was a good film. I enjoyed it. If you've seen it, let me know what you think. If you haven't seen it, let me know what you thought of the review, and if you think you'll go see it, let me know. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy. I'll see you next time.